Welcome to the Lose Weight, Live Life podcast. If you're a female professional or entrepreneur who would do anything to lose weight, yet finds it impossible to stick to a diet, to eat less, or just what you think you should, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life and weight coach, Clair MACKENZIE. Listen in to learn how to stop overeating, lose weight for the last time, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, all without diet deprivation and self-sabotage. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to episode number 69. Don't complicate weight loss. Before I get started, I would like to wish you a happy new year. I hope that you had a good Christmas. I hope that Omicron didn't impact your plans too much. I think all of us will have been impacted in some way, and I just hope that you were able to have some special moments with family and friends. And so here we are, another year. Now, before you start to focus on what you want to create in 2022, please take a moment to write down what you achieved, enjoyed and appreciated in 2021. I know that the last 2 years have been tough for most of us, but it's really important to acknowledge what you've overcome, what you've done over the past year, whether it's been surviving or thriving for you. I really want you to look at what you can find that is positive, even if you've had the most challenging of times, because when we look hard enough, we can find the positives in everything. And I encourage you to look now. I want you to appreciate yourself, acknowledge that you feel proud of how you showed up or of what you achieved. And actually, I think I might even put a post in the Lose Weight, Live Life Facebook community inviting you to share, because this is important. Appreciation and gratitude for ourselves, for others, and for things in our life make a difference in how we show up each day, how we show up for our days, for our weeks, for our months, and for our years. And if you're not already in the free Lose Weight, Live Life Facebook community, please do come join us there. You can access it by going to www.facebook.com/groups/lose weight, live life. And that last part, lose weight, live life, there are no spaces or underscores between the words. Okay, so let's get on with today's podcast. Weight loss doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need to focus on doing everything right or eating in a certain way. When we overcomplicate weight loss, we focus on all the things like what we can and cannot have, whether we must exercise, the details of the types of foods that we eat, whether we should have low fat or whole fat, whether we should have foods with sweetener or natural sugar, all the things. We focus on all the wrong things because we are focusing on everything that is external to us, primarily food and weight loss. Life-changing weight loss has very little to do with knowing all about the food and everything to do with knowing yourself. Did you know that you simply get to decide how you want to eat? It's you deciding and knowing how you want to eat for life that I describe as having the right balance between eating foods for fuel and nourishment and nutrition versus eating foods for comfort and pleasure that works for you. There is no right or wrong, only what you choose because it's what you want. And when I say what you want, I don't mean you eating chocolate and ice cream or cakes or biscuits or drinking wine because you think that you want those foods and those drinks, whilst you're desperate to be slimmer and healthier. I'm talking about what you truly want. Because we so often tell ourselves we want all those things when really we don't. If you think about it, would you pay £5,000 to have someone wave a magic wand so that you could be healthily slim forever and never gain weight again? I know many of us would. Would you spend £5,000 on chocolate and ice cream and cake or wine? Or even to have an abundance of those foods? It's really weird, really interesting, I think, when we look at it that way. Which would give you more value? Of course, the irony is that we probably do spend far more on foods that don't support our weight and health goals than we do investing in ourselves to support those goals. But I'm getting off track here because what I want to talk about today is not overcomplicating weight loss. I used to feel as though everything, including the stars on occasions, needed to be aligned before embarking on a new attempt at weight loss. I needed to find a Slimming World or similar class that met at a time that worked for me. I needed to feel motivated. I needed to be at my tipping point where the misery I was feeling of being overweight exceeded my anticipated misery of the weight loss process. For me, the misery of the weight loss process included feeling deprived, feeling shame when I attended those classes, feeling the frustration with myself for not sticking to my diet, feeling the disappointment that the weight had not gone down when I'd had a good week on the scales. Oh, and of course, I also needed a clear diary with no upcoming work trips planned and no abundance of social occasions. And I also needed no major life challenges or upheavals, no friends or family members being sick, no major work projects or major house projects or major kids projects. And so when all of this was in place, then I would tell myself it was the right time to focus on losing weight. And that is partly because I was overcomplicating weight loss. And the problem with that approach, the problem with needing life to run smoothly to lose weight, is that of course life doesn't run smoothly most of the time. Generally, there will be a work project that's stressful, someone who's sick that I'm worried about, or there will be some fun social occasions or holidays coming up, which of course is the bit that I do want. We don't want to miss out on the good stuff in life because we're wanting to lose weight. I promise you that figuring out the right way for you to lose weight whilst living your crazy life is the way forward. It's the only way forward, because if you can't lose weight whilst juggling everything else, your weight loss will be temporary or you won't get traction at all. And this is important. And the good news, you don't need to make weight loss complicated. You don't need a ton of time or a ton of focus. You want to incorporate weight loss into your life through a series of moments. Eating to lose weight or maintain a weight loss is primarily a way of being. For sure, you're going to want to do and not do things, eat and not eat things, but that's only one part of it. When you think of weight loss as a way of being, it's about how you're thinking and feeling in addition to what you're doing and not doing. Let me say it again. The changes you can make to become the person you want to be, who has the relationship with food that you want, don't need to be complicated. In fact, it's better if the changes you make aren't complicated. It's better if they're small, easy, don't take much time, and importantly, look like you doing nice, kind things for yourself. Here are a few simple things that you can do to help you become the person who has the relationship with food that will help you to lose and then maintain your weight. Okay, number 1, plan what you're going to eat. Now, I love a good weekly meal plan, but you don't even have to do that. Simply decide first thing in the morning, whilst you're having your morning tea or coffee, what you will eat for the day. It should take you no more than 2 minutes. Number 2, only eat when you're hungry. Now, I know many of you will eat at certain times to fit in with work and family schedules, and I used to use this as a reason why I couldn't eat only when hungry, until I learned to adjust what I ate when to fit in with being hungry at the times I wanted to eat to fit in with work and family schedules, for example. If I was going to not get lunch until 2 p.m, I could eat a bigger breakfast or plan a snack. Having an early dinner to fit in with family, then I would just have a smaller lunch. It really is very simple. Number 3, learn to stop eating when you're satiated before you're overly full. Now, I'm going to come back to this one in just a moment and talk a little bit more about it with regards to being an example of how to implement that in your life. Number 4, get the balance right between eating for fuel and nourishment and comfort and joy that feels good for you whilst enabling you to lose or maintain your weight. And number 5 is care enough about yourself to drink enough water, get enough sleep, and move enough to take care of your bones and joints and general health. And you can do all of these things no matter what is going on in your life. Although I appreciate if you're a woman of a certain age like me, sleep may not feel that simple. In fact, all of you will likely have reasons why these things aren't as simple as they could be. And that's okay. Okay, start with what you can do. Start with what's the easiest to incorporate into your life. Do one thing at a time and stick with doing that one thing until you're an expert at it. Whether that takes weeks or months, stick with it until it feels habitual, until it becomes a part of who you are. Taking the one of not overeating beyond satiated as an example, consider that you can do that no matter what is going on in your life. No matter whether you're eating at your desk, at the table with your family, on the road, or in a fancy restaurant. And it doesn't take any time. In fact, it takes less time than continuing to eat to the point where you are overly full. And it will change your life. Even if you ate 1% less, which is a tiny amount if you think about it, every mealtime, every day for a year, you would by the end of that year have reduced your dinner portion by 37%. Now, many of you may not need to cut back on your evening meal or your main meal of the day that much. The truth is, you won't know until you start being aware and thinking about how much you're eating beyond satiated. I think that my evening meal is more than 50% smaller now than it was when I was very overweight. I used to overeat at dinner and then not have enough energy to do anything in the evening other than feeling awful, sort of struggling through doing things for the children that were needed, and then eventually watching television before falling asleep. Now, if someone had said to me years ago that simply not overeating my main meal of the day would make a significant difference to my weight, and that not only would I not miss it, but that I would feel so much better for it that I never wanted to overeat again, I would have had many reasons to not do it. I would have felt resistance. I would have maybe thought that it was too simple, or that it wasn't enough to make a difference. And I might even have thought that it was too difficult, because I didn't know how to not eat beyond full. I didn't know how to not eat until everything on my plate was gone. I wouldn't have wanted to do it, and I would have doubted that I could do it. Making a change like this would have felt both too small and insignificant, and at the same time too difficult, and probably, if I'm honest, too boring as well. Because the allure of a brand new diet that everyone is raving about is far more appealing, far more exciting and interesting than simply eating less. Now, how I felt about making simple changes about how I ate, what I thought about what I wanted to do or could and could not do, is where I needed to focus my efforts. You see, creating the relationship with food you want has far less to do with the food than it has to do with you. Your thoughts and your feelings are everything when it comes to weight loss. Feelings such as resistance, thoughts such as that won't work for me or that's too hard for me, feelings such as boring, thoughts such as it's not enough, all of these things, all of which, by the way, are normal, all of this is where your work is. Overcoming all of this is your humanness. Overcoming all of your humanness of who you are is the secret, the magic, if you like, to weight loss success. When you become the person who is willing to learn and figure out how to eat to satiated and not overly full, and then you're making progress to create a relationship with food that will work for you for life. And of course, there are things that you can do to help yourself with that, tools and hacks that you can experiment with. But it's the part about you being willing, about experiencing the shift in energy from resistance to curiosity. It's about you choosing to think on purpose, something like, I want to give this a go, whilst also discovering that your biggest obstacles to overcome on your weight loss journey will, of course, be yourself. And that's okay. So don't overcomplicate weight loss. Don't distract yourself with focusing on all the things you think you must do or that you must do in a certain way. Instead, keep things simple and use your time, use your focus to notice yourself. How you feel, what you think about what you do and what you don't do are where you need to be focusing your efforts. Don't overcomplicate weight loss. Now, if you're listening to this episode shortly after it's released, then I would love you to join us for the Weight Loss Mindset Coaching Experience Week, which is all about making 2022 the year for you. We kick off a week of free coaching and teaching on weight loss mindset on Sunday, the 9th of January. So don't miss out. Register at www.thebestyou.coach/ and then the numbers 22, so 22 and then you. So www.thebestyou.coach/ 22u for details of how to take part and to get your You of 2022 workbook. I would love to have you join us next week. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are ready to live a more intentional life, lose weight as a part of that journey, and create a relationship with food and yourself that you love, then I would be honoured to be your coach. There are 2 ways that you can work with me. You can join my monthly membership program, My One Life Academy, that gives you self-paced learning, supported by twice-weekly live calls and a whole lot more. Or you can join the waiting list for my next 6-month Lose Weight, Live Life group coaching mastermind intensive. Go to www.thebestyou.coach/coaching to find out all the details.